Hello, hello. Welcome, my sisters, to Call for Wisdom. My name is Deborah, and today we're going to hit a very sensitive topic, a hot topic, a sizzling topic, maybe not appropriate for young sisters topic. So if you're a young sister, meaning like 16 and under, go do something else. Go scroll on TikTok or something else. But don't really, this message is not for you. It's for the mature ones who are getting ready to get married, and the ones that are already married, and the ones that know all about the sex, because you've had enough of it. Listen, I'm going to talk about female sexuality and why female sexuality is better suited, better met through polygyny than it is through monogamy. I think biologically, Yah made us this way. Biblically, it is proven that he has already regulated and given men the permission to have more than one wife. That's what polygyny means, more than one woman, an isha. And we psychologically are better met with all our sexual needs through a polygynous marriage situation, household, than monogamy. Now, if a man chooses to be monogamous and that's his free will and this is what he desires, then that is his option and that is his choice. But as a female, I'm speaking to you, sisters, I'm not speaking to the brothers. I want you to consider the benefits sexually. There's lots of benefits from a polygynous relationship. And I'm going to say the first three, the main 3 points that I want to tell you about why I think that is so. And then we're going to go through a review with the Happy Wife psychologist there, Hyper Wife School. And I'll leave a link to her channel because I'm just going to do a review about that. Because I know what I'm going to say is very controversial. Psychologists, ministers, society are all against polygyny. That is like when we're talking about relationships, it's not even in the psyche. Everything is about monogamy. And if you are not able to be satisfied in a monogamous relationship or able to meet a man's need in a monogamous relationship, you are considered a bad woman and somehow you are failing sexually as a woman. That's it. That's basically it. Okay, we can hit it up. But, anyways, like and subscribe, follow along. Let me just tell you what I've been coming up with my experience in polygyny and also my experience as a counselor. Why I believe polygyny suits our sexuality as females. Awesome, awesome stuff. Number one is because a woman's fertile window is limited, and polygyny expands that opportunity for us to mate earlier in life and sexually tap into our fertile prime right on, earlier on in life than monogamy does. Now, I'm talking to modern sisters. This is how we are living right now in our year and age in the West, okay? So, biologically, a woman's prime fertile year spans around 15 years, typically between the ages of 18 and 33. That's when we're in our fertile prime. And also, that's when the hormones are supposed to be going really well. Your libido should be really high as a woman at that time as well. You would want and enjoy sex. You have the you have the tightness, you have the energy, you have the stamina to enjoy sex, right? And on top of that, you have the ability to bond with a man when you're a virgin and when you have a low body count. And if you can find a man during your prime fertile years before it expires, you can tap into that. Now, the problem with monogamy is that it has limited your options because now monogamy says, well, you can only do this once, and polygyny says that too. The woman can only have one husband, right? But the men that you're looking at are limited. The amount of men that are available for you to choose from, let's say there's only out of the 5 guys in your vicinity, um, the there's only probably 2 of them that are single that you are pleased with. The rest are married, right? And of the 2 that are single, he has his choices and he's not going to choose you because he is monogamous and you don't meet his qualifications somehow, and he can only choose once. So even if you might like him and he's single, he doesn't like you that way to commit to you. Right. So you're limited in how many men you can choose from because you're not allowed to look at any of the married ones. Say it's monogamy. And so you waste your young years, that small window of fertility, going to university, setting up a career, getting a car, becoming independent, learning to survive without the man when you should be learning to bond with the man. Now you're wasting your time in monogamy trying to survive without the man in order for you to eventually spontaneously bounce into the one. And if you find the one before you're 30, congratulations. But nowadays, the majority of women are getting married in 32, hitting their end of their fertile years really quickly, right? And end of their sexual prime really quickly. And having to settle down with whoever is available at that time. Whereas biologically, you were sexually attracted to the married man. Right? Yeah, the pastor, the boss, the Yah-fearing brother that taught the Bible study over there, yeah. But he was married, right? And so you were not allowed to have any interest in him because that's a no-no. Monogamy only. No, 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 no. So sexually, you had to settle for the second what you thought, not the prime one, not the first choice, but maybe the second and third choice, what we like to call beta men. I don't like really like that term, but he was not the most sexually hot guy that you had for, because he's the one who you match with, and you figure, I'm getting older, and okay, I'll give it because that's all I have available because monogamy says that's what you have available. And so you got to choose it because all the rest of the options that you had available, biblically speaking, are taken off the table. So a woman's fertile window is limited by monogamy, but polygyny expands that window of opportunity to get married at a younger age. These years are not just when you can bear children, but when you can have the most vitality of sexuality as well, enjoying it. It's also the season when a woman has the most energy and focus, right? To raise the children as well. When you have kids, you got lots of energy to run after them. You can bounce back from pregnancy a lot quicker when you're younger. But in a monogamous relationship, you also, even if you were to get married at a younger age, you're also limited in amount how many children you can pop out because you're limited in the amount of support you get. Now, if you're not rich enough to have a nanny and to afford daycare, right, you're most likely working and he's working, and then you have to support these children all by yourselves with not much support. But if you have a sister wife, which I don't really like that term, but another woman in the house, you guys can bear children faster together with the support of each other, still enjoying the prime of your fertile years and the prime of your sexual years. Polygyny allows you to get that support in those prime years of fertility to to enjoy life and to enjoy being a mother and not just being stressed, because there's a lot of times women look down at motherhood because of the stress that is put on when we're trying to do it all by ourselves without the community, and also without the intimate community of the sister bond of polygyny. And so I think that sexually you also suffer because now you're trying to raise these children and the baby and breastfeed and do all that stuff without the support of the sisters, the sisterhood, or one or two of them doesn't take much. And then still try to please your husband at the same time. No wonder women do tend to lose interest in their man after the first child. You get tired, you get exhausted. There's a lot of hormonal changes going on, a lot of societal pressure to perform at the same time and be everything. But anyways, the woman's fertile years is wasted by monogamy, waiting for a limited amount of men. And then when she finally gets it, settling for not her first pick, not even her second pick, right? Sometimes her third pick sexually. We know also that dating apps have proven that only 5 to 10% of men on the dating apps are chosen by the women. So the majority of women are only choosing 5 to 10% of the men on the dating apps, proving again that we are attracted to the same men, proving again that we are sexually attracted to the same men. Now, when these men are taken, what do the rest of us do? You wait, right? You hang out, right? And if you can't wait, you hop on one to another, wasting your sexual vital fertile years on hookups, on temporary bandages, on immorality we call fornication, on short-term pleasures, hoping that one day, Prince Charming might come along who happens to be all that I want and single at the same time. It's not working out. We know it is not working out, and it's wasting a wombs. It's wasting the vital years and a short window of time that we females have. Men can wait longer. Men can wait till, whatever age. They can still be fertile. They can also, if they have high testosterone, keep it up and enjoy their sexual lives for a longer period of time than we women do. And I'm not saying that it's all women. I'm saying it's a majority of women. You might be the exception saying, okay, Deborah, I am still having a lot of fun in the bedroom and I'm in my 60s and my 70s. Hallelujah to you. But you are the exception, not the norm. Okay? The majority of sisters are just normal, average, not superhero in bed. We're just what we are. And our prime years are being wasted by monogamy. Had we had the opportunity to have a husband at an earlier age, we would have enjoyed also the bonding effect in contrast to monogamy that makes us postpone it. If we got married earlier because we were able to hop into the household of richer, well established, well proven men who had more than one wife, and he met the qualifications of our head. I got to stop and give a caveat. I need to do that. The caveat to all this, and welcome to Call for Wisdom. If you're new to the channel, my name is Deborah. Like and subscribe and leave a comment. If you don't agree with me, that's fine. You don't have to agree with me. Tell me why, you know? But the caveat in this discussion about women and our sexuality and our need for men and in finding a polygynous relationship or choosing to be in a monogamous one. The caveat is that as Yah-given women, no matter what, we need to have not do it alone. We should be having conversations with our head, our fathers, our spiritual head, our brothers or the elder, the person that heads your household before you go into any kind of relationship, committed relationship with a man, any relationship really, you need to bring him to the head and he should approach the head. So you looking and saying, oh, from a distance, I do like this man. I see things that he meets my needs and I'm sexually attracted to him and he's hot or he's not or whatever. Great. The next thing is to discuss that with your head. Don't try to do it like the world because the worldly girls, we know, we were there. You got broken pickers. We don't pick well, right? Yes, I'm in my prime. Yes, you're 18 and 20 and everything looks great and he looks great and he has the six pack and he looks like he has potential and you imagine all kinds of stuff. But until you put it in front of your father or your brother or whoever is head of your home, they just tear that guy down. They see things that you never saw because they're not interested in all that you're interested in. They love you, right? And they're going to see things about this man that they like or they dislike and give you the blessing that you need to go forward or not. You should never think that you can be like the worldly women and get the outcome of the Bible, right? The biblical outcome that you want is a marriage with a righteous man. So I do suggest that you sisters who are uncovered find yourself inside with in the headship of a man. Now, I talked a lot about that in Culpable Wisdom. And again, if you're new, please look at my previous episodes about covering and about why women are not born to be wild, how we need a man to even look for a man, how shepherds are the ones who lead the sheep for sale, with other shepherds. Basically, the negotiation for all this is done between men. Aside from this, our conversation today is about our sexuality and how it's better met through polygyny. And again, let's just continue. So, under monogamy, a woman is often left to raise the children alone with a lot of stress, hindering her sexual desire for her husband because of the stress. It plays a huge damper when you always have to be babysitting, always have to be doing stuff. But in polygyny, we have a household, shared duties with wives, more time to enjoy and relax and enjoy sexuality with the husband on our turns in time, very much different. A Torah based polygynous household with multiple wives can support one another share responsibilities, ensure that children are raised in the home full of feminine presence, full of nurturing and care, and still have a great sex life without all that stress. We share each other's burdens. The more hands, the better. So, scripturally speaking, Yah never punished women for wanting to share a husband. Leah did, Rachel did, Sarah did, Jacob had many wives. It's a fruitful, feminine thing to desire to share a husband. But right now, with the society has turned that around and made us feel ashamed that we desire that. We don't even want to say it. If I asked you right now, do you want to share your husband? And as a young woman, you truly, truly, truly feel the natural desire to do so. Feminism and the world will tell you something is wrong with you for that desire, right? But it's actually biologically in us to want to bond and share with our sisters because we love our sisters, because we want the same thing for our sisters. And on top of that, it benefits us when we have the freedom to share the workload, to raise a family, and to help with the man, right? Because men, their sexual needs are bigger and more stronger, and their libido is stronger than ours. And so, in my prime, I would love that you be able to, sorry, in your prime, I'm not in my prime, to enjoy that. And monogamy steals us, time wise, from enjoying those kind of experiences. The second thing is that Yah made women hypergamous, and that's what I referred to before. The way polygyny satisfies our deepest sexual needs and desires is because we are naturally hypergamous. We look for things, men, that are greater in status than us. So let's talk about the facts, women. We are attracted to the top tier men, the ones who are strong, protective, resourceful, respected by other men in society. Other men and other women look up to them. And already the desire is there for us to seek that out. That is naturally in us to pursue a man that other people admire, but specifically other women sexually admire as well. And that is the key. Because if I told you as a sister, or we're walking around, ooh, look at this man, he's so hot. You will look and you will desire him. But if no other woman is interested in him at all, you most likely would not. We are like flock, we're like sheep. We we tend to like the same things. That's why we have a fashion industry, because if one woman wears it, we want to wear the same thing. We copycat a lot. We desire the same things. And the more things that the women want, we want to follow the same direction, right? That's why now it's in fashion to wear wigs and have eyelashes and nails, and the flock all follows along. They don't care what the man thinks. They all like it because one woman likes it and a couple women like it, and now we all like it, and we like the same stuff. We like to like the same man. The more women that are sexually attracted to him builds up our sexual attraction too, right? And this is what is the key. We are made as hypergamous. We naturally desire things that are higher, stronger, more appealing to us. And it's more appealing because other people affirm that it is more appealing. The man is more sexually appealing. The man is stronger, wealthier, capable of leading. That is our hypergamous needs. We go, ooh, I want him. Now, if he's not all that, then we start not thinking the same way. And then we consider settling for him because, we're getting older. And yeah, but he wasn't your first choice sexually, was he? He wasn't. Hypergamy means women naturally wants a man who is better than and at least equal to them in strength, intelligence, status, and provisions. And we're drawn to that. Even during the apps, you see that, like I said, and historically, the pattern continues with the top men always fathering the most children, generationally wise. A few men have the most children with the same women, lots of women. Now, here's where it gets real. Female sexual desire is actually heightened by the sense of competition, healthy competition. A woman who sees her man being admired and respected and desired by other women will feel more drawn to him herself. That's her hypergamous nature being affirmed, right? And by that, we feel like we want to have sex with him. Now, when we limit this and imprison it in monogamy, We take that desire away. We take that natural stimuli away. When I get married in a monogamous relationship, and all of a sudden the man that I got married to is no longer on the market, no longer is he allowed to see other women, but also other women are allowed to show their approval of him, sexually attracted to him, all of a sudden I lose that image of him in my mind. It is a psychological switch that turns off. And that's why a lot of times women, when we get married, all of a sudden lose interest in sex with the man. I said it. You probably won't hear it on the internet. If you have, please send a link because I'm still looking for people that understand this and get it, especially counselors and psychologists. We like to blame women and say, after you got married, you flipped the switch on the man. And then we start shaming them saying, you never really sexually liked him, you were just faking it, which is not true. When the man was single, he had other options, and the woman psychologically knew that. Before he committed, he had other options. And the mere fact that he had other options made him sexually appealing to her. She liked that. She could always try to, compete a little bit and get him. And that was great. That kept her sexual desire hot. As soon as he became off the market, it was just there. Now he's begging me for sex. Now I'm the only one that provides it. Now it comes to my head. Now I got a power trip. Now I am a Power Ranger. Now I am the goddess of the BJs. Hey. This is just for, mature sisters. Listen, we get a little high from the fact that the man is begging us for a kiss and a hug and Friday night specials and desserts, right? We play on that power in monogamy. And the more he feeds into it, the less interested we are in sex. The more he begs, the less we admire him because he's admiring us. He's begging us for something that is very, very important to him. And yeah, at first you willingly gave it, especially the first year, you enjoyed it. But like I said, because there's no other gaze going on, you are losing your sexual attraction to him. Even if you try putting all kinds of shows on, you're losing it. And as you lose it, the dial goes down. You no longer want to give it out. And all of a sudden now you're getting shamed for being, the woman that's married that's only having sex once a month with her husband, once a week with her husband, once a year with her husband. Now not interested at all. Now it's literally you don't enjoy it. You just do it for doing its sake. This is what monogamy brings a woman to. And it crushes our natural sexual stimuli to keep it going. It takes that away from us. It imprisons us. Not only does it imprison the man, but it imprisons us. Because had I had another sister wife hanging around, possibly, most possibly, I would still have that stimuli in my hypergamous needs. Being, oh, ooh, another woman's admiring my husband. She wants to go on date night. She's telling me she's having a great time. I can also have a great time. I'm going to keep on being stimulated by the hormones of just that in my mind. And he will continually being attractive to me for a longer period of time. Take that away, lock me up in monogamy, and it all goes crumbling down. Okay, so bear with me. Then the third point I want to say is that polygyny honors the natural rhythm of a woman's biology, our body, whereas monogamy pressures us to conform, right? But polygyny honors the natural rhythm. We have menstruation. We have times in our cycle where we are not allowed through the Torah to even have sexual intercourse with our husbands. Now, if you were a healthy woman, then it's, for 7 days every month. But sometimes, even for healthy women, sometimes you pass that 7 days by one more day. And according to Torah, and I am a Torah observant believer, and a lot of your sisters are as well, if you follow the Torah, if you follow the Bible, the laws in the book of Bible, you know that if you pass the 7 days and you have one more day, just even one more day of bleeding, you got to wait another 7 whole days before you are declared clean. According to Leviticus chapter 15, verse 19 to 33. That's Leviticus 15, 19 to 33. I'll put it in the notes. When a woman is on her period or has any type of blood flow, like irregular bleeding, she is considered neda, unclean. And during that time, she cannot have sexual relationships. She's dependent on how long it bleeds for. She can't continue. And so it might be all up to 14 days, sometimes even longer for some women, where she's not allowed to biblically have any intimate sexual interactions with her husband. Now, it doesn't matter if he wants it, it doesn't matter if she wants it. This is the law. This is the cleanliness law. And we're going to talk about this in a separate episode another time, right? But polygyny honors that because what is a man supposed to do, right? Monogamy says, well, suck it up. She's on her cycle. Well, right, all right, right. You just have to deal with it. If she's on her cycle the whole month, well, too bad for you. You got to deal with it. She's unclean for the whole 2 years, too bad for you. Now we're talking about the 12 years of the woman caught with the issue of blood. Well, we're going to discuss that a little bit later, maybe with Brother Michael. Great sermon about that. But the whole point is that women, we have cycles. Not only do we have menstrual cycles and periods of uncleanness then, but also when we bear children, right? There's times after the child, depending if it's male or female, when a woman's not allowed to have sex and she's considered unclean and needs purification process for that. And so all these periods of time without it is commanded in Torah where it's not possible. And a man has to suck it up and put up with all that. And then there is the hormonal changes that comes along with women when we have a fluctuating hormone. Sometimes our libido is very high, and sometimes it's naturally very low. It doesn't matter how much you shame a woman for it; it is the way it is. This is how Yah made it fluctuate like the waves. And riding the waves in a monogamous relationship can be a very hard thing to do for the man, right? And we like to shame women, say, "Oh, she has a headache again. Oh, she's tired again." Maybe it's true. It is true. But because she's in a monogamous relationship, she feels pressured that even if she feels this way, she has to push through all these things and perform and give out the mandatory sex without the feelings. Just lay there and say hallelujah when it's done. Starfish, do whatever you need to do, lock your head out, just get it over with. That is what women have to suffer. And I think polygyny honors a woman's natural cycles, natural hormonal shifts better and more honorably. Because when I'm not able to satisfy my husband's needs, I can I can depend on another woman to do that, which is my other wife, the other wife of his, right? And he can circulate and he can work it out. He honors his that as well. He's not left stranded. Now, this is, of course, is of a man who has the awareness of this. Now, if your husband doesn't have the awareness of this, I'm not talking to you about it. I'm just saying, generally speaking, polygyny suits female sexuality better than monogamy. These options are awesome. And Yah made it that way. Yah made it so that the man just doesn't have to suffer. He has options, right? And with more than one wife, a man is not forced to pressure one woman to meet his needs 100% of the time. Now, if you ask a man how often he would like to have sex, go ahead and ask that. I'm not a man, but I hear a lot of things as a psychologist. It's a lot. It's a lot more than you realize, especially healthy men. You know, every 2 days, every one day at least, a couple times a week, yeah. Ask a woman, it isn't the same. Not even close, not even a ballpark close. And far less when we pass our prime years because we wasted it in monogamy. It becomes even more irregular, right? I'm in my menopausal years in my 50s. It becomes even more the desire. Doesn't mean that the desire for intimacy is not there. I'm talking about intercourse, which is a little bit deeper, right? But still there. And I'm not saying women can't enjoy sex in the older age, because we'll talk about it. We absolutely can't. But the fact is that trying to put ourselves on the same level, libido wise, as the husband is biologically impossible. And it doesn't suit women to shame us for our inability to keep up with the man. He has an appetite. You are the restaurant. You serve a great menu, but it takes you a while to restock. He's hungry every day. And when he comes to your restaurant after eating yesterday and says, "Oh, I love that dish. Can I get it again today?" You say, "Well, sorry, it's it's out of stock. The steak and the cheesecake is out of stock. I have to replenish, I have to go to the market and get more." And he goes, "Well, I'm still hungry." And what are you gonna do? What you gonna do in monogamy? You're gonna have to tell them suck it up. And that's when we start seeing men going outside and saying, well, you know what? The pizza shop is still open. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm hungry. She's out of stock. I'm going to go get some pizza. And he will take his $10 and go buy the pizza. Now he can afford the 5-star hotel that you are, the 5-star restaurant that you are. He could afford it, but you were out of stock. You're not available. He's still hungry. He still needs it because don't shame a man for how y'all made him. This is his biological necessity, his right. This is the glorious way that Yah made men to be farmers with the testosterone to plant seeds in different fields, which are women, and to multiply and be fertile and to produce, right? And so now he needs to relieve himself and go down the road and get some pizza unrighteously, which is not good in monogamy, and it forces men to do that. And then we shame the man and say, "Oh, you are a cheater! You're a cheater, 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 cheesecake cheater." You know, my cheesecake was not good enough, and she was only offering cold pizza. And what does this ugly lady with the cold pizza have to offer that I don't have? Look at me, I'm so beautiful. And he's like, I'm just hungry. I don't take it seriously. I'm hungry. I went down there to get satisfied because I needed it. And you won't let me have another wife. But biblically, he has a right to. Monogamy sucks for both of us, but for females, particularly, that kind of pressure psychologically is really high. When you're not feeling well, you got to suck it up. You got to pretend. You got to put the uniform on, the French uniform to stimulate yourself in the bed again. You know, you got to dress yourself up like the redhead down the hooker down the road so that you can look so hot, and you got to pretend to be 5 different women to stimulate your desire, but also his desire, because he in his mind wants a polygyny anyway, because he is stimulated by variety. And so the more you dress up and disguise yourself with a camouflage of a mask of being a different woman, all of a sudden your husband's looking at you differently and go, oh, okay. And so you feel like, okay, you accomplished that, but you're only one woman, right? And the pressure to perform, the pressure to dress up, the pressure is not good for us. Why can't we just accept our limitations and our wonderful way that Yah made us as the weaker vessel and flow with that? I'm not saying that you shouldn't stimulate your sexual desire and enjoy your husband, because absolutely. But the pressure to be all woman, every woman, you're not every woman. Sorry, Oprah. You're not. You are just you, and be the best version of you, indeed. But monogamy pressures us up, and that messes us up. Women's sexual desire naturally dips as we get older, especially postmenopause. And that's not brokenness, that's just biology. And meanwhile, healthy men can remain sexually active 60s, 70s, and beyond. He can even bear children if he has good testosterone to do so. So, in a polygamous household, the aging wife doesn't have to feel like she is failing her husband. She doesn't have to feel like she's depriving him, right? She doesn't have to literally deprive him, not even feel it. She doesn't need to do that. She can share, like Sarah did, her husband with her handmaid, like Sarah did. Sarah was older. She shared her handmaid, Hagar, with Abraham. And we can share our husbands with the younger women who can meet up and keep up with him, right? And still enjoy intimacy, cuddles and snuggles, and occasional sex and whatever meets your needs. Everybody's happy. It's a win win. No guilt, no pressure, no sin, just order. And let's not forget, in scriptures, righteous men had multiple wives, not because they were sex crazy, but because they were fertile, wise, respectable leaders who had to manage their homes. They had kingdoms to run, they had businesses to run, they wanted to have lots of children, they had armies. Polygyny is the biblical structure that allows a man to obey Yah's mission for his life, to multiply. He has a vision. He needs more hands, literally, more body parts. And we women are his body parts. We're not the head, we are his body parts. And to say that this one right hand of mine has to do all the work, whereas he can get another one, a left hand, to help him, and together we grow. There's no pressure on one particular body part to be everything. She can be that one part really good, and this one can be this one part really good. Sexually, I'm liberated, I'm free. And we know as women, Less stress, better sex. We know that. The less pressure, the better it is. We know that. And I don't want to feel guilty because I'm not in the mood. And I don't have to because I have a sister that is in the mood. Cheers to the team, cheerleaders. Listen, we're going to continue this conversation because I have a beef. I have some things that I have some comments to say, some reviews to say with the psychologists online. There's lots of them who disagree and blame us and shame us women. And if all the liberal thoughts that we think we have, we're going backwards when it comes to female sexuality and enjoying who we are. Not only do we shame men, we're shaming ourselves. But this is to come next. Okay. So thank you for following Call for Wisdom. I'm going to continue this conversation a little bit later down and look up for the next one coming up. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. What do you think? Do you think that polygyny suits female sexuality better than monogamy? Let me know. And also, sisters, do you think that you are more attracted to your husband and partner when you see other women attracted to him? I know that's a sensitive question, but if you feel like answering it, go right ahead. Blessings, my sisters.